Well, we need to talk today because I don't want to be the person who tells you I told you so, but do you remember back in March when we all started to discuss what was potentially underneath the Great Pyramids in Egypt? The cylinder-like tubes that went down almost 2 miles into the ground. You remember that? And do you remember how so many people came as quickly as possible to say, it's not true, it's absolutely false, that will never happen, nope, nope, nope. Well, guess what? Recent scans show that
The one shown in the kind of 3D images and everything, yeah.
those cylinder tubes are actually there, but that's just the tip of the iceberg because there are even larger ones that go on for miles and miles. And the guys who are in charge of this project just had a press conference debunking the naysayers who tried to come and say that there was nothing down there. Now here's where the cool stuff starts to show up. Not only have they proven that the cylinder-like structures and the chamber at the bottom of them do in fact exist at the bottom of the Great Pyramid, but all of the pyramids in the surrounding area have the exact same cylinder structures and chambers at the bottom that are all interconnected. Now here's where it gets extremely interesting. Not only do they believe that these structures and chambers were built by an even more advanced civilization, they believe that the Egyptians built the pyramids over top of these structures to cut off access to the inside of them. Oh yeah, and I can't forget to tell you that recent scans have also shown that there's something, a chamber of sorts, underneath the Sphinx, right near the pyramids too. And if your mind hasn't been blown enough already, they believe that these structures are over 38,000 years old. Hey, but you don't have to take my word for it because anything that you want to know about now is at your fingertips and you can go down the rabbit hole all for yourself, which is why I want to have this conversation with all of you today. Have you watched the press conference? Are you excited about what has now been confirmed at the bottom of the pyramids? Because I personally think this is going to finally shed light on everything we've been taught to believe is in fact a lie. And
what must be understood unequivocally is that none of this is new. The tunnels beneath the pyramids, now paraded as modern revelation in 2025, were never unknown. These networks, some extending for miles, are pre-Diluvian constructs. These are frequency corridors. They are technological vibrational relics, part of an intercontinental neural grid that predates written language. They predate dynastic Egypt by 20s of thousands of years. They are quantum conductive arteries engineered by an intelligence not bound by contemporary human limitation. And yet only now is this so-called era of disclosure is their existence acknowledged. Why now? Because they are attempting to control the awakening by curating its pace. They will only reveal what they believe you are too pacified, too sedated, or too fragmented to weaponize against their narrative. This slow drip disclosure is not transparency, it is sorcery by omission. Let me speak plainly. We have always had advanced technology. It was never discovered, it was never invented. It was redistributed, concealed, weaponized, and fed back to the public as artificial milestones of progress. Consider the archetype of San Witwicky in Transformers. The entire world is imploding. The fabric of human sovereignty is disintegrating, and yet the key to global knowledge, Megatron, lies cryogenically sealed beneath the ice in Antarctica, in a base they called Sector 7. Fiction? No. This is allegory disguised as entertainment. Before the Pentagon, before the CIA, we were here. We knew. And that's the most honest line in the entire film, because Sector 7 isn't just fiction. It's an encoded reference to real pre-agency containment units that existed before 1943, before Langley, before public oversight, units like the Black Chamber, MI-8, silent since 1919, ONI's, Anomalous Technologies Division, buried in Navy archives. The War Department's Special Projects Branch, erased from public history, in early eugenics-backed think tanks funded by Skull and Bones that handled pre-atomic archaeotech, including items retrieved from Giza, Antarctica, and Peru. These were not science projects. They were containment protocols. And the presidents, they were never at the top of the food chain. So now they become an item in public like it's new. Look, tubes under Giza, as if we weren't already told in the 1980s by independent archaeologists. As if the Dogon people didn't really already describe stellar gateways beneath the sand long before radar-conformed voids under the Sphinx. As if the same tubes don't also run beneath Illinois, Georgia, and New Mexico, hence underground civilizations. We have pyramids in the United States. They are just buried under suburbia and highways and classified land deeds. Because the Earth was a supercontinent and she remembers. The tubes and the temples, they were never isolated. They were root systems, neural arteries of planetary consciousness. Call it Gondwana, call it Pangea, call it the mother grid, and now with timing fragmenting and poles shifting, those connections are waking back up. These farmers represent suppressed alien consciousness. Antarctica, the frozen continent off limits to nearly all, houses not only organic life but forbidden machinery, ancient vegetation, and perhaps even bio-intelligent entities from pre-cataclysmic civilizations. The parallel is deliberate. You are being shown exactly what they're doing, just never in plain language. Part 2 is me telling you why time is speeding up.